Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Netflix's new film, Beckett. And this is from director Ferdinando, Cito, Filomarino, and from producer Luca Guadagnino. And starring John David Washington, Alicia Vikander, Boyd Holbrook, and Vicky Krieps. And this film focuses on Beckett, this American tourist, and after a deadly car accident, winds up being on the run because he wound up seeing something he shouldn't have. And you have a whole bunch of people trying to find him and hurt him. And this is the kind of thing where it's like, this is an hour and, the first 20 minutes is a lot of build up with John David Washington and Alicia Vikander, and I love them together. I love Alicia Vikander. It's not in it a whole lot, but I absolutely loved her in this film. And then John David Washington does a really fine job in this leading role. He has to do a lot of physicality here, physical acting, dealing with a lot of pain and suffering, and a lot of running, and a lot of crazy stunts. And you have him on the run, and it's basically that for the next hour and 28 minutes. And it definitely leans into the issue that I have with The Revenant, where it's just after a while, watching what else could possibly happen to this guy, who else could possibly turn on this guy, because some of the tension's gone because literally everybody's in on it, and you're just there's very few people that don't wind up being in on it, and you have Boyd Holbrook, and you have Vicky Krieps. Boyd Holbrook works for the U.S. Embassy, and you have Vicky Krieps, who's this political activist. You could probably guess who's actually on his side and who's not. But there's just so many of these reveals. It's oh, this person's after you, and then you have these really intense, really well shot, and action and thrilling sequences. This feels straight out of the 70s. I was thinking Marathon Man, 3 Days of the Condor, a lot of inspiration in the kind of thrills that's going on in this film and how it's shot. And it's beautifully shot. There's a great chase scene between John David Washington and a bunch of people through a city, and the Dutch angles work so great, and the long tracking shots work so great. The filmmaking on this is off the charts. The story is really repetitive, and to be perfectly honest, there's such a big conspiracy going on with so many moving parts. By the end, I didn't really care about the conspiracy. It just really, to me, was well, he saw something, they want to get him. That's the point of the movie. You don't really have to go any deeper than that. It's just this thing and this thing, this person's worked for this person, this works for that person, this one's corrupt, maybe this one's corrupted too, and all of those things just get so muddled and convoluted that. And they even try to have these exposition dumps towards the end of the film, and you're just nah, I'm good. I didn't need to know the details, but you do it anyway. And like I said, it does get repetitive after a while, and you're kind of just can we give this man a rest? Seriously. And of course, nobody believes him or nobody trusts him. There's very few people along the way. The performances, I think Boyd Holbrook does a fine job. Vicky Krieps does a fine job. Alicia Vikander was great, and John David Washington really does a lot to carry this movie, and he's really put in that position too. And whether it's the great thrills, the awesome music, the music felt right out of a 70s thriller too, and everything technically that builds up this film is great. It's just maybe there wasn't as much depth with the narrative, or something as meaningful with the narrative to get us to really care about what actually is going on, because in the end, it's just really his girlfriend, something terrible happens to her, and he happens to see this kid that he's not supposed to, and then things just spiral from there. And the sequences where there's action and violence is really visceral and intense, and that's why I got so much out of this, even if it doesn't always add up to something really important or interesting or dynamic. It's just a fun thrill ride. And if you want a fun thrill ride, go check this out right now on Netflix. But those are my thoughts on Beckett. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.